ake muntu omusha njengoba sobona ukuthi isikhathi samakhaza phela sesiqalile expressions we decided to take to the streets phela ke sizwe ukuthi ngabe abantu aba-homeless bona how do they really cope under these circumstances. Now these are the people esijwayele ukubadlula as we go about our day-to-day. Expressions we've decided to touch base nabo ke sibabuze phela ukuthi do they think that we are doing enough to give them support njengabantu abanganamakhaya. So do follow me and let's have a quick conversation with them. Rasta bosangitshela mfethu ukuthi impilo inzima kanjani la estradini.
Amajuda la estradini sithathwa nje njengabantu ayikho umuntu ozayo kithi nje azosinceda nje makuza nje umuntu etiyo nalozo nikhohlisa nje aniphukudla nje after lapho nje anishuta akaqeda nje angeka sabuye.
Ulimele mosibhuti ne?
Ulimele.
Kwenzakalani?
Angangijiva njengoba ngiseza lapha yabo bengijivela uAda yabo like uAda naye ngithola ku Scom Plus mekangehlisa la high point mangiceda ukuyehla kunamajida vela abamba inkunzi yabo babonile uAda mekangigaya imali yabo baje ukuthi bazongigrab bangithathela imali yabo ingivele ngasemuvi awuthangibone yabo ingikwaze ngiwe mangiwa ngimemeze yabo mangimemeza ngithi ngiyanyathela ngale nyawo alisasebenzi yabo ungishaya spinal cord yangithola
omunye nomunye okususwe inkinga zakhe ekhaya abanye basuswe ubustoti ukuthi nje umuntu wabheme yabona wona butomdala asifani nje ngoba sila sonke
akukho abantu begovernment ebazayo nje bazoza basikhuthaze nje ngoba sitela ama opportunity okumele siwathathe okumele siwayenze abekho bhuti wami ukutshela nje iqiniso.
I studied PR communications. I understand I did 2 years. I understand I'm only at 1 year 10 modules. Came me down 1 year. Now I've also had work experience. I've worked in retail. I worked as a representative for a certain company. Because of certain choices that I made in life, I'm who I am today.
A truly touching story. And on that note, we want to say hello, Dumelang, Sanbonani, South Africa. Welcome to Expressions. And if you don't know this by now, Expressions is definitely the place for you to air your views. I'm your host, Jacqueline Mapala.
Your #1 youth current affairs show. I'm your host, Olisi Wagamasango. Now, the month of June, Jackie, has been declared the National Children's Awareness Month. Now, today, we focus on the most vulnerable children in our society, and that is the homeless children. Our poll question this evening: is the plight of South Africa's homeless children ignored?
Well, that's a very important question because according to research, multiple factors drive children to a life on the streets, such as poverty, neglect, breakdown of family structures, loss of parents, violence and abuse. South Africa is currently home to 1.4 million AIDS orphans, many of which are inevitably living on the streets. Homeless children are enticed into a life of crime, including petty robbery, shoplifting and burglary. They also become victims of drug addictions, rape, and sometimes forced into prostitution or crimes by adults preying on their vulnerability.
As you know, as Expressions, we like to find out what our people think. That's why we took to the streets to find out what needs to be done to address this issue. Do take a look at this.
Kamalam Ngusonto Nkomo, and namhlanje sila eBinoni. We're here to unpack the life of living on the streets. What are your thoughts about the kids that don't have homes and that are currently living on the streets?
Kubuhlungu kakhulu. Nini sabona umntana ona 12 years lana. Sambuza ukuthi kahle kahle why ulana. Washela ukuthi umamakhe umcoshile. Ngokubuhlungu kimi nomngane wami ngoba besifuna ukumsiza ngoba inhliziyo zethu ziba buhlungu nathi besimbona abantu kuba nje. Ngakho kena sibona ngathi abanye kube kuyisimo sasendlini kuze bagcine bazibone balapha.
Kusuka kwami Eastern Cape ukufika kwami la eGauteng bengihlala nosisi wami le eCloverton. Makuhlala kwami nosisi wami ngangena kuzo lezi zinto zamanyawu phelezi ini yabo ngokusisi wami bengayithandi lento leyo ukuthi lento zenze mina bengihluleka ukuthi ndiyiyeke le ngokubona ukuthi nasivane endini kancane ukuthi ndona uba ndize ngiqabane naye yabo ngcono ngithini ndihambe ngisuke kuye eqani kwakhe.
Survive my family matters wabo since kushona umama endlini wabo ngasala nabo mamkhulu kwaba nezinye izinto wabo kwaqabana nabogogo wabo instead of bafuna ukuthengisa izindlu endlini wabo kwathiwa ngiyadelela mase ngifighter back uyayibona yiza ngisaba mnandi endlini wayibo.
Uthola ngihlala estradini ngizithole ngendaba zokuthi ngibhizi namanyawupe and endlini ngiyathatha uyabo, then abantu basendlini they end up fed up gcine sobalekile ejardini.
I'm a stubborn girl. Yes, I ran away from home because I wanted to be free from my mom and so on. So now I'm regretting that. Why ngamamelang my mom?
Powerful comments from young people who understand this topic firsthand. But to help me unpack this issue, I'm joined by my two guests. My first guest is Phineas Polohola, who is a former homeless child, as well as Sam Mohopa, who is an assistant director at the Kids Haven, and it is an NGO. Gentlemen, welcome to Expressions. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here.
It's good to have you. You know, I never do this by myself. If you're wondering what's happened to Umxolisi, he is on our social media side and bringing some of your insight on this also important conversation that we're having in studio. But I'm going to get straight into it. You know, I'm going to start with you, Sam. I mean, they say that this issue of homelessness around children is a big problem. It's an escalating issue. I mean, just tell us a little bit more about how dire the situation is.
I must actually say that the issue of street children, it's very serious and very dire, in the sense that in all towns that we actually come across, bigger cities and smaller cities, we come across, you know, street children. And the issue is what is actually the society is doing, because they are seen, but they are actually hidden, in the sense that nobody wants to actually do a lot in terms of, you know, working with them and removing them from the streets. And it is actually a serious concern, because what would actually happen 10 years from now, when they are no longer actually young children, they will be adults on the street. So the issue is, what is the country doing?
I mean, it's interesting. They even referred to street children as the forgotten children. And I think for you, Phineas, this is something that you've had to experience, and it was a reality for you. I mean, talk to us a little bit about some of the challenges that you faced when you were living on the street.
Yeah, I just want to say all the challenges that you face when you're on the street. You've been through a lot of things things that you experience on the street, and what I can say most of the time is that when you're in the street, it's like more you're independent. There's no one that you can stand for, and no one can help you. So all I can say most of the time is that you just have to make better out of a situation that you are. And I believe that the situation that I was in was not really a situation that I can say I was proud of it. And when you are young and when things happen to you and all the things that you experience in the street, it's not things that you would say you would like everybody must experience.
How old were you, Phineas, when you were on the
old.
street? And what were the circumstances that led to you being on the street? What happened?
I had to be on the street because my mother and father never work. So there was no one who really have like a solid salary, someone who can bring a difference. So then we just decide like to go out and just do it for yourself, you know. But at the same time, I'm not proud of it, because there's always a reward in everything that you do. Yeah.
And Sam, I want to bring you in, but I think before I bring you in, we had actually invited the Department of Social Development to be part of the show, and unfortunately, you know, they could not make it. And I think, obviously, you know, their voice would have been very important in this kind of conversation. But I think just continuing from what he is saying, I mean, what are you doing to help young people like Phineas? I mean, you were saying just now that, you know, what happens to them 10 years afterwards? It becomes an even bigger problem. So talk to us a little bit about the work that you're doing with them.
We are an NGO based in Benoni, and what we actually do with children on the street is we go out, make a relationship with them, bring them to the center and encourage them to stay at the center, and at the same time establish what are the presenting problems that actually bring them to the street. And as a result, we intervene based on, you know, individual needs, and at the same time we have social workers and psychologists that are actually giving them the necessary psychosocial services that they actually need. However, once they're actually in, we even go to an extent of making sure that they actually attend school or further their education in terms of the skills development.
What is your success rate? Because, you know, there is a pattern with street children that once you put them into a space where there's structure, they struggle a little bit. So what is your success rate?
I must actually say that it is actually difficult at the beginning. However, what we have is a stabilization program where we allow them that kind of a leeway when they actually come back from the street, because we do know that they've been exposed to some sort of freedom on the street. And as a result, when they arrive, they cannot actually understand now to have adults who are putting them on a particular structure and routine. But we allow them that kind of freedom for some time, to reintroduce them, to get them, stable. And at the same time, we have a bridging school where we sort of, bridge them and neutralize them to be in the center. Once they are ready, then we allow them to go and attend, education out of the center.
And for you, Phineas, do you feel that enough was done to give you the support that you require? Do you feel that society actually cares about street children?
Basically, what I can say, they don't really care much about street people, But in the other way, I would say they care because of sometimes if you're a person in the street, people stand on the robots, they give you money, So basically, I would then encourage that. That's something that's good, Because a good person, someone, if you can take him to a place that you know that he can go and have like education or something. Because if you give me money, tomorrow I'm coming back again for that money. But it's better if you can take me out of the robot and take me to a place that maybe a shelter or something, then I can have a direction out of my life.
So clearly a lot needs to be done, a lot more needs to be done. Bohedu, you're probably one of those people who feels you're doing good by giving money to a street kid. But I mean, you've heard from Phineas. Phineas says that you need to go above and beyond. But on that note, we'll be back right after this. Umxolisi is on the flip side of this. Stay with us. You're watching Expressions.
I guess Pinde Simbingela Snamgela, you still watching Expressions, your hashtag #1 youth current affairs show. Now, as we observe National Children's Awareness Month, we ask this important question on Sehlwa: is the plight of South Africa's homeless children ignored? I'm now joined by Umlando Jerry. Gentlemen, welcome to Expressions. Great to have you on the show.
Siyajabula ukuthi sibe sohlelweni lwe-Expressions siyabonga Mxolisi.
Sibonge bhuti. Now mfethu yazi sizwile ngalopho takhuluma about ukuhlala estradini ukuthi akukho kuhle. Njoba sesingena ebusikeni nje sekubanda manje kakhulu mfethu. Ubusangixoxela over how it is in the streets. You're basically out there on your own.
Originally I'm from KZN in Newcastle. I'm living as a street kid in the streets of Johannesburg. For 2 years manje. Ngisestradini, ngokushuthi kusebusika mfethu akukho mnandi. Mangakuxoxela nje usuku nosuku. Ngibabuka abantu beyendlini ebusuku. Mina ngisemgwaqeni anginangisho inkuba ngidlile. Kubuhlungu kakhulu mfethu Mxolisi. Ngiyalidinga ngempela ushintsho empilweni. Abantu ugcina uba isicefe kubona. Uzocela ukuthi namhlanje, uzocela ukuthi kusasa. Yabona, as ubhuti phambilini ebesho ukuthi we need something bigger. Yabona, ususa ingqondo yami estradini. Yabona mina ngihlala estradini. Every day bhuti wami ngiyayiklile ngime endaweni ewani. Yabona nje kulesimo engikuso manje ngingafisa ngempela ukuthi kube khona umuntu ongangisiza. Yabona, angenze ngikhohle yilokho impilo engiyiphilayo manje ngisebenze nje nami ngikhona ukwenza ama skills wami nginama skills ngakhona nami izinto engikwazi ukuzenza ngaqhasha ngithola umsebenzi kodwa bhuti wami ukuthi kunzima bonke abantu baya ignore bhuti wami uma ungcolile uyabona into yokuqala nje ukungcola uyabonakala ama homeless ukuthi wena homeless.
Mhlambe mangasithatha usibeke esithombeni about what took you to the streets?
Mina actually kwakuyifamily yami ngoba
ubaba ngimazi, umama akabangananyawo angasebenzi. So into manje angiyenza ukuthi nami ngizicabange ukuthi yazini athi usukume ngizele town. Maybe ngathola uncedo town. Mama ngifike town akhona gcine sengithola life yakhona ukuthi igcwele ubgangsterism. So ngicine nami sengizithola sengenza ubgangsterism too much yabo. Ngene emajele ngiphuma. Because you're under pressure ukuthi mawunala abantu bayakutshela ukuthi dodoni uyigwala wena ngeke ujampele endawo le. Hayi mina ngingayenza mina kumele ngibaprove ipoint kubonke labantu. So it's like life yasestradini ine-pressure yokuthi kumele wenze into ezi-wrong hayi ezi-positive kakhulu. So it's like nabantu nje basidlula nje babone ngathi siyathanda ukuba lapho. Asithanda ukuba estradini. Sesiyenza ngoba si-under pressure ngoba nesisu naso sinesikweleti. Sa every day kumele uhlale usifit uyahamba ucela amathurana. Amathurana sometimes uyakunika imali enyanga bakunika imali yani. But at the end of the day le nto boyifunela ifina uyithola ngoba nala uthi yolala khona uthola abatshontshile ingubo yolala.
Wena utheke ngwase eNewcastle ngokuvela right. Ufika kanjani ke eGoli mfethu? Wena mhlambe mangangithatha ngibeke isithombe mhlambe ngezinye izinto ezijwayele ukukuvelela estradini ebusuku.
Kusuka wami nje ekhaya ngisuke njengawo wonke umuntu ngithi ngizozama impilo eGoli. Butwa ngathola ukuthi igole alilona lento lengisuke ngizitshela yona ukuthi igole kunzima butwa mawuqala mawungasebenzi ungenayo ifamily or ifamily yakho mina ke ifamily yami angizwani nayo kakhulu kunoqhelelana nje between mina nefamily yami ngezinto engikhule ngizenza o yabona ufaka nokubhema ukujonsha njengazo zonke ingane. And into engizothanda futhi ukuyisho ukuthi nasemakhaya bana lenza into baye usikhondema kakhulu butwami yabona ungathi mangibuka ukuthi lento lelo rubbish lo ngizohamba ngempela mina ngizibona ngiyini ungizala wena uthi mina lento lo rubbish lo hamba ngivele ngihambe nami ngosiphelele emgwaqeni nakho namhlanje ngiphila emgwaqeni butwami ngithandi lempilo.
Yinto ofuna ukuyibona yenzeka.
Ngithanda ukuthi abantu abangaba namandla uNkulunkulu abathinta inhliziyo zabo bazwele ngempela bangasiza ngokuthi mhlawumbe ngikunika imali namhlanje ngoba le mali lena ihayithi ngihambe inyodla lokho kwamanje yabona
yabona Alright, I guess ibambe khona lapho mfethu sibonge kakhulu mfethu. Well, now lapha ekhaya, as you might know, we like to also hear what you have to say to us. This is why we also check in with your WhatsApp voice note, and this is your expression for this week.
Hi, my name is Abongile Mapotoma. I personally think that the government is not doing much for the youth that is homeless and loitering around the streets because they don't have anything to keep them busy or to enrich them. They don't have jobs. There aren't any projects helping them around. And if you want to get into that, you need to get some sort of connections if there are any projects.
Well, at the back of that, we're also going to check in with what you had to say, Pelago Facebook, as well as on Twitter as expressions_10. Well, Ulizo says, no, it is not right. I don't like what is happening in these. If I had a plan or money, I would take care of these kids by building a home for them where they can stay and buy food for them because they are people too. But what I can say is that government needs to make plans to take care of these kids. And of course, we had indeed made attempts to get hold of government. Unfortunately, they pulled out at the last minute. Vuyo said that the answer is simple. Yes, if that was not the case, therefore, I really doubt if we would see an escalating number of street kids in our towns, townships, and so forth. Go to Cape Town CBD, you will see a number of young and old roaming around hopelessly. No one is willing to help, even the political leaders, business people, and so on. And of course, do continue that conversation on our social media platforms. When we return, Jackie continues this conversation. Now, this is Expressions.
Welcome back. You're still watching Expression, and as we observe National Children's Awareness Month, we ask the very important question around, is the plight of South Africa's homeless children ignored? And of course, I'm still with Sam and as well as Phineas, and you know, we obviously have to wrap this conversation up. I want to find out from you, Sam, what is the way forward? How can normal, everyday people get involved in changing this?
I would actually say members of the public need not, give the money instead, they need to divert the children that they see on the street to facilities that are working with them. And at the same time, we need, government to divert resources into making sure that there is much intervention that is needed in terms of assisting them. Otherwise, we would be playing lip service in that particular instance.
Something that was really compelling that they had mentioned was the fact that it's very difficult for homeless children to remain within the structures that have been set for them. And I just want to get from you, Phineas, just a word of inspiration to homeless children who have managed to come out and now just need to be motivated to stay there and go back and have an inspiring life.
What I would say to the homeless children, they must never give up and they must keep on fighting. And I just want to say, please, people of South Africa, can you please help each and everyone who's on the streets? Help them, and the South African government also, please help the homeless people. And each and everyone who have anything that to donate an education or something, I think I will be very happy. And I would say thanks to God, each and any people who can try to help and make a big difference to the homeless people.
Thank you so much for your words of encouragement. Gentlemen, thank you so much for being on the show. Nkolo, this is a really pressing issue in this country.
Yeah, well, Jackie, and I think something that continues to ring in my head okwamanje is ukuthi it's not just about ukunikeza umuntu estradini imali. Go the extra mile. Not really knowing that the problem is actually greater. Again, Mundomusha, let's just quickly also find out ukuthi ngabe wena utheni when we asked you this evening whether you think that the plight of our homeless children is being ignored. Let's just quickly have a look at the results. Well, 80% of you think
people are not
yes,
convinced that enough has been done.
And 20% think no. Wow, interesting. And of course, at the back of that, we also like to hear what you would like for us to discuss. We check in with your video diary for this week.
Hi Expressions, my name is Takato Monareng. I would like Expression to discuss more about the burnt victims during this winter season. Thank you.
Looking forward to that, Ngo.
Yeah,
looking forward to that. I'm really proud that we were able to put a spotlight on this very important conversation around street children, right?
Yeah, especially this month.
Especially this month.
Yep.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for joining us, Lapikai. Thank you so much to our studio guest. Nongoma now plays us out. Mundomosha, do enjoy the rest of your evening. Well, Cutting Edge is up next. We wish you a spectacular evening going forward. Take care.
Adios.
I was doing nothing. I was doing nothing. I was born from love, through my parents from above, sent down by the gods, a messenger to bring healing. But I got stuck in a rut, got so confused, a bit too much. It took a while to get back up, have to remind myself I still can win. I was doing nothing. I was doing nothing. My soul felt so tired, had to go far away, absorbing the fire of emotions around me.